Welcome to Zestology. If you fancy a laugh, you might well enjoy listening to this episode, basically laughing at me. I'm Tony Wrighton. This is the podcast all about energy and vitality and kind of living a motivated life. It's a very cold, kind of pretty much winter's day here in London. I'm walking along the street. You might hear a bit of a rustle, and that is because I'm wearing my coat, because it's that cold. I need a coat today, definitely. And it is quite amusing what we did in this episode, actually, because we are looking today into using artificial intelligence to supercharge your workouts. And we recorded this whilst sitting on the CAR.O.L exercise bike, which uses the latest artificial intelligence to compress a workout into a few seconds. It sounds utterly ludicrous, doesn't it? I know. I mean, I feel the same way. You can compress a 45-minute workout into a few seconds with this new artificial intelligence bike. I'm still not quite sure I believe it, but it was fascinating talking to Rahul from CAR.O.L about it, and you'll hear, because I do the workout in a few seconds. It sounds barely credible, I know, but imagine having your workout compressed into two 20-second spurts, if I can use that word, every day. This is basically an AI-powered fitness bike, and they say that you can get the same benefits of a 45-minute jog in two 20-second sprints. Simple as that. So can we use artificial intelligence to superpower our workouts? I mean, this is one of the things that I think is really interesting. And one of the things that I've noticed over the last few months is I just don't seem to have any spare time, and when I go to the gym it's always quite pushed and hurried, and actually I love working out and I want to do it all the time, but I just don't have enough time to do it at the moment. So can we compress our workouts with the help of artificial intelligence? You will hear me get absolutely destroyed in this podcast in these two 20-second bursts, in these two 20-second bits. I mean, it is good fun, and Rahul is a great bloke as well. So we got on really well, and I went to meet him at CAR.O.L in High Street, Kent, in London, and we recorded on the bike. So here's what happened. Right, Rahul, we're recording.
Awesome.
Thanks for inviting me here.
Dude, thank you for
I'm going to call it a facility because it's quite impressive. The first question I've got is, I've been telling everybody about what you do.
Okay.
And I found it quite hard to explain because it's kind of so amazing. The way that I've been explaining it is, basically it's like an exercise bike, and you do about 40 seconds and it's the same as a much longer workout.
That's it.
Is that it?
Well, the thing is, it's like an exercise bike because, it looks like a bike, and yeah, it is a bike, but there's nothing else about this machine that makes it like any other type of bike anyone's ever seen. So it's like whenever we're at conferences and stuff, people will be comparing us like, oh, dude, so Peloton must be your biggest competitor. And we're like, well, yeah, they're both bikes, but for us, they're completely different. This thing it'll give you the same benefits as the Peloton workout in those 40 seconds, as you rightly said, because it's just tapping into your body in a completely different way and a new way. Really old science, by the way, just with new technology. And it uses this technology to get you out and about in the shortest time possible.
Yeah. So, I've been looking at your website, and there's a video of a bloke on a suit who gets on a bike, does his workout, and then just straightens his tie and gets off and walks off. Is that you on it?
No, it's actually so funny. That's our web developer.
Oh, is it?
And we were in the studio, and then Ratna was there, and she was there, and she was like, you know what? You don't actually sweat, and it'd be really cool if we could illustrate that in the video. She goes, Adam, you're good looking, and you're actually wearing a suit. Why don't you get on the bike? He was like, yeah, okay.
Right, so that was where it came from.
That's where it came from. We hopped on the thing.
Yeah.
But dude, it's so striking because, again, when we're at conferences and stuff and we have this thing playing in the background, people come up to us and say, dude, like, I've never seen people wearing a suit. And we're like, that's exactly it, because over the 30 years of research behind just this one exercise, scientists have never been able to correlate this to sweating. So when we do it, we find that people are not like we're not sweating. I certainly don't sweat. I do it in my suit. And so when we have our showrooms or our stores or even online, we'll be selling suits as your workout gear, and like, you know, Lululemon stuff. It'll be like suits, you know.
Okay, well that's good, because I'm kind of wearing jeans. I'm gonna have a go in a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm wearing jeans and a jumper.
Perfect.
So, and kind of just my normal trainers. And yeah, I mean, I went to the Bulletproof, they're called Upgrade Labs now in Santa Monica, and they've got that exercise machine, which I know is very different from yours, but again, they promise like a 10-minute workout, which is the same as going to the gym for an hour. And I was so skeptical of it, and it rips you to shreds. Yeah. It's such a good workout.
Yeah.
My guns were like absolutely popping out of my t-shirt after I used it. So I'm kind of very open-minded about this technology.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the old science that this is based on. What is that?
So it's a good question. So back, you know, we're talking like 50, 60 years ago, there's a place called the Wingate Institute in Israel, and they developed, Wingate sprints, essentially. Well, they were doing the Wingate tests, but the sprint structure is you're going to pedal against no resistance as fast as you can, and then resistance will be applied for you, okay? At which point you're already going at max speed. And the idea is that you can get to max speed without fatiguing at all. And that takes you from 0% to 100% intensity almost instantaneously, which you're not able to achieve or not able to do if you're running or on a treadmill or swimming or something, because you're always working against resistance, so you would fatigue to get to your top. And just, you know, this stuff is, we're talking decades ago, right? So these guys were thinking, okay, how can I make this exercise the most potent cardiovascular training system in the world? Essentially was what they were going for. And they thought, or they realized that, you know, 3 30-second sprints of this type of sprint structure is what you needed to do. You know, fast forward 20 years and in comes Dr. Niels Vollard, and he was like, well, actually looking at the data and the research, he's like, well, it looks like most of the magic is happening in the first 20 seconds of the first 2 sprints, and then after that it seems to be actually almost superfluous. And so he then, over 25 years or so, does more research, just really making this thing bulletproof. I mean, he's meta-studied, peer-reviewed to the nines. If I were to print out the research about this stuff, I'm probably giving you a metric tons worth of paper, right? And so it's now like widely regarded as this is just the most potent cardiovascular training you can do. But traditionally it was very, and this is why I'm saying the old science. So yeah, it is dated science, but it's also like, he was using very, very expensive machines, bespoke for laboratories, and, other people to actually do the exercise. So like I said, the resistance had to be applied for you while you're pedaling. So he would literally have someone do that, right? And he'd be there taking data readings off you so that he knew what resistance to apply. Now that technology is kind of advanced, we don't need the other people because we have artificial intelligence that kind of replaces human intelligence in the machine. So it kind of does all the learning of the other guy and adapts it for you.
Okay.
And now we've kind of...
So you've got a computer in there that's just like reading what's going on with me.
Oh, hell yeah. And it's always going to be adapting. So as you're progressing, if you're getting, if you go on holiday and then you come back and you had too many beers, the bike's the bike's going to be like,
I'm going on holiday soon. That's amazing.
Exactly. So it's like, oh, you shouldn't have had that. So it's like, okay, we'll make it a little bit easier to get it back on track.
Okay.
And this is what I say. It's like, imagine lifting weights, right? So a lot of people will say to me, it's like, well, why don't I just crank up the resistance on full? Like, it'll kind of do the same thing. But imagine you're lifting weights, right? If you just cranked it up on full, it would be like trying to deadlift 500 pounds. Like, you couldn't do that. Like, you'd just be like pulling against something that's not lifting up off the floor. 500 pounds, I don't know if maybe is that possible. 500 kilos. I'm on the metric system. Yeah. But
whatever, it sounds like a lot.
It's a lot, right? Yeah. If you're lifting this thing, you're not going to be able to do it. But on the flip side, if you're deadlifting like 10 kilos, you're just deadlifting nothing basically. And so in either case, you're not achieving what you want to achieve. You want to deadlift the right weight for you. And the weightlifters will know exactly the weight. They'll have their personal best. They may do 80% of the personal best for 5 reps, that kind of theory. And that's exactly what we're applying here. And so just cranking it up to full, it's not the same. It's like, it's just trying to bench or whatever, deadlift 5,000 kilograms. Like,
right.
It won't work. So that's what we do here. We're basically doing all the heavy lifting. So really it's plug and play, get on, ride, pedal, we do the rest of the work.
Okay, so I think what's best is if let's get involved.
Let's do it.
Firstly, tell me what we're going to do, what I'm going to do and how I'm going to feel, and then we'll start doing it. I'll give you the microphone, you can hold it while we're recording, and we'll see how we go.
Okay, so, what we're going to do, we're going to quickly set you up. We are going to then do the 2 20-second sprint ride. That is what all the research is about. That's where the magic happens. I mean, there's loads of other things you can do on this machine, but we're just going to stick with that today.
Yeah.
You're going to feel definitely worked. It's it's not like any exercise you've done before.
Yeah.
You're going to feel a huge leg pump, like you've just done an hour-long exercise. I had a professional football player in here.
That's great, because I haven't been to the gym for a week because I've been so busy. I'm just so excited.
I love that.
Okay, so you had a pro footballer here.
Pro footballer here, and he was like, dude...
Are you allowed to say who? Probably
No.
not.
And he was like, dude, I feel the same leg pump after a whole 90-minute game as I do after that. He was like, this is, you know, quote unquote, he was like, that is proper. And that's what he said. And I was like, might be a hint as to who it is. And I was like, well, there you go, man. I was like, well, there you go, man. And then, and then on the second 20-second sprint, so you do 2 sprints.
So hang on, I get on,
yeah,
and I literally 20 seconds starts straight away, or do I
no.
little warm-up?
You're going to do
first?
a warm-up. You do a warm-up. So the whole workout's 8 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah.
So you're going to do a 2-minute warm-up.
Yeah.
I'm going to guide you through it. I'm going to talk you through what's on the screen. You know, it'll be showing you your metrics, right?
Yeah.
And then I will just quickly coach you as to what's going to happen in the sprint, because like I said, you're going to pedal against nothing.
Right.
And then the resistance will be applied. Okay. So that's the one bit you kind of need to get used to.
Yeah.
We're going to do that. Then you're going to recover. You're probably going to be so wiped you may not want to talk to me, depending on how hard you push.
Right.
And then the second time, if you really are going to go for it, you know, you're quite fit and athletic kind of guy, so I know that you'll probably be pedaling really fast. I had a Royal Marine. He threw up when he did it the first time.
Oh my God.
Because he really went for it. So maybe on the second sprint we're going to take it a little bit easier, so you can still talk.
Yeah.
And then after that it'll be a 3-minute cooldown.
Wow.
Let's do it.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it. I mean, because this really is okay. So you can just kind of set it up while I talk. This is artificial intelligence for a workout, isn't it? I mean, that's what I find quite exciting. The fact that I think a lot of people in the kind of biohacking world like to use technology to actually take themselves back to a more primal state, you know, whether it's using blue blocking glasses to make the light orange at night, and this is actually getting you working out, but with all the time constraints of modern life as well, so it's quite exciting.
That's exactly it, and I use it obviously in my apartment. I do it 3 times a week. The research shows you don't need to do it any more than 3 times a week, because it actually doesn't add any more benefit.
It doesn't?
No, but I do it 3 times a week. I get out of bed, you know, I boil the kettle, literally, and I do this workout. And by the time the kettle's boiled, you know, it's had a little bit of time to cool down so it doesn't burn my coffee, you know, I'm ready to go. And I've done my workout and I don't have to think about it anymore. I do muscle training boot camp as well.
Yeah.
But that's just purely because I want to look good. And
and also it's not, it feels good working.
It does feel good.
Doesn't it? Do you get that same sense of feeling good after using this?
The hardest part about this mentally is kind of... because it is intense. 40 seconds, right? It's not easy. It's kind of, you will have a battle in your brain. It's like, you know, am I going to put myself through that? Even if those 40 seconds feels like 20 minutes, dude. Yeah. It's like, okay, am I going to push myself through that? Luckily, it's a relatively short exchange, and so you can go for it. Yeah. And when you're doing the workout, by the time you've decided you want to quit, it's already over.
Right.
So I mean,
I can do it 20 seconds. I think.
And you can't change a resistance on this thing, right?
You can't.
It does it for you.
Yeah.
So you pedal against nothing, against no resistance.
Yeah.
Which is very easy to do, and it requires no motivation, at least, to do that. Then the resistance is applied for you. At which point you already sprinted, you kind of fall into the sprint.
Yeah.
And by the time you're like, oh, okay, go, and then by the time you're like, oh man, this sucks, you're like, oh, it's over, cool.
Yeah. Just interrupting this podcast to tell you that it is brought to you by Sunlighten Saunas, and I'm sitting in one right now. There's loads of different programs you can use to help you detox, relax, use for anti-aging, or even for a cardio kind of workout. There's weight loss and pain relief as well, which is quite good for me at the moment, because having a small baby, you keep picking him up and putting him down, and for some reason my back's just a little bit dodgy at the moment, so I'm enjoying the pain relief one at the moment. It's also a very nice way to enjoy the English winter, or indeed the American winter, or wherever you are in the world, especially if you're in the northern hemisphere. Just escape the cold for a few minutes and come and sit in the sauna. So yeah, infrared saunas, it's the absolute gold standard of saunas. And once I've finished recording this advert, guess what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be switching off and putting on Netflix on the screen in this sauna, which is, I mean, all the things that the sauna can do, it's kind of a little added extra really, but it's just so cool being able to watch Netflix in the sauna. So if you fancy getting involved with infrared saunas, I know it's not cheap, but especially if you're kind of looking to boost your energy levels, very relevant to this podcast, sunlight and saunas might be something you want to look into, and you can use the code ZESTOLOGY for £200 or $200 off. That's it for now. Back to the podcast. I am interested in the artificial intelligence.
It's really cool.
And you were telling me some interesting stuff about diabetes, which we'll talk about as we go. But anyway, so what it looks like is an exercise bike with a computer screen on it. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what it is. Yeah.
But the computer screen and the computer in there controls the bike.
Yeah.
So we've got an electromagnetic brake down there. It's actually guided by a laser.
Okay.
And it is controlled by the machine. And you've got heart rate monitors in the handlebars. You can also use a chest strap.
Yeah.
You've got an ergometer down there.
Yeah.
By the way, the most accurate type of commercial grade ergometer you could get. So it will be around 10% more accurate than, which is a lot, 10% more accurate than your traditional, in inverted commas, spinning bikes without naming any names. And you've got this actually very advanced hardware and technology being driven by this software, and the software is taking readings from you 3 times a second, and it's pumping them into its algorithms. It's going to shoot it back up to the cloud, download it, and then decide what your workout's going to be.
Now, I've got real chicken legs. I'm renowned for the kind of sparrow-like nature of my legs. So don't judge me if I'm not very good on this. I'll give it my best shot.
Don't they say like those kind of bodies are the ones who are able to rip it down the 400 meters faster?
Yeah, probably. Maybe that's right.
Maybe I'm going to get the bucket in case you're gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's like we were watching a boxing match at the weekend. We paid for the pay-per-view boxing, and there was one boxer who was just absolutely ripped up top, and then the tiny little chicken legs. It's not a good look, is it? So yeah, I think this will be good for me. But actually it does appeal because, since we had our little baby arrive a few months ago, the time to go to the gym, it's just so hard sometimes, especially if he's kicking off and he wants a bit of attention. So this is brilliant, and I'm looking forward to having a little workout right now.
Hell yeah, dude, let's do it.
Okay, so shall I get on or?
Get on.
Right.
I'm going to hold the mic.
Just hold that, yeah, fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, so is it the right height for me?
Yes, okay. I set it up for you just before.
Okay, perfect.
So what we're going to do,
slot my feet in there.
Slot your feet in there. You can use any shoes. Okay, good. We're good to go. Right.
So, it says first choose your music. So you can listen to music while you do it.
Well, okay, I want to stand over it.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah, don't worry about the mic. It can pick up anything. It's fine.
All right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So we actually employed the lady who did once upon a time did the British Airways adverts, and she's kind of the AI voice in CAR.O.L.
Okay.
And so she will be talking you through the workout. We don't have to have it on today, but she'll be essentially what we're doing is we're mimicking a fight or flight moment with this. Like we're mimicking a moment that you're just minding your own business, and then all of a sudden a tiger's going to start chasing you. So you just have to absolutely, you've got to get out of dodge, dude. Right? You just got to gun it out of there. Right? Yeah. And so the AI voice is going to be like, no, we've also incorporated some mindfulness stuff in there, so to kind of calm you down. Yeah. And it's like, now I'm just relaxing. And then all of a sudden, what's that in the bushes? Dun, 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 dun. And then it's going to be like this tiger growling. And then it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, wow, wow, wow. And this thing's like, go, 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 go. Right. It's crazy, man. And people have so much fun. They even start laughing sometimes doing it.
Great.
Okay.
Now you're warming up, so pedal slowly.
Yeah, that was her.
Very slowly, at walking pace.
Cool. I just muted her. Right.
Yeah. Leave it for a sec. It's quite nice.
This is your power dial. Right now, stay in the blue zone.
Okay. All right. So I was going too fast then.
Yeah.
Go really slow.
So what we're doing here is we're mimicking that moment where you're.
Neanderthal man didn't jog.
Yeah, you can turn it off if you want.
Yeah. I'm shutting this guy off. So we're mimicking that moment where you are, in the savannah or in the jungle. You're just totally minding your own business. It's kind of like if you're watching the National Geographic, right, and then you see the gazelle.
Yeah.
And then he's literally just chomping on the grass. And the next thing you know, he's being chased by the cheetah.
Right.
After the cheetah's gone, he's back chomping on the grass again. It's just kind of what they do. It's what they're designed to do.
Let me just check we're recording all right. Yeah, we're fine. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
I'm almost getting nervous about the moment when the cheetah comes out.
Dude, I get nervous as well. It's funny, you see my heart rate start to go up.
Is it happening in 1 minute?
1 minute, yeah.
1 minute.
So in the center of the screen, you've got your timer.
Yeah.
And the timer's counting down to your next big moment in this exercise.
Yeah.
So here we've got 50 seconds until you're going to do your first sprint. Okay. And down here you can see a timeline of where your sprints are.
Yeah.
Now, when this timer actually gets down to 2 seconds.
Yeah.
If you had the voice on, it would be literally saying what I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
But when this timer gets down to 2 seconds, the screen's going to go red. And then that's when the tiger sounds would start happening. And you're going to have to pedal as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Okay? It's going to be against no resistance, right? So just
No resistance?
No resistance for the first 2 seconds.
Okay, fine.
You just go as fast as you can.
Okay.
Focus on going around the wheel, not pushing down.
Okay.
Just get to your max
Around the
speed.
wheel, okay.
And then the resistance
got
will be
10
applied for
seconds.
you. 10 seconds, okay? Okay, yeah. Deep breaths.
Okay.
All right, okay. So now the screen is going to go red. Now go on, Tony. Go. There he is. So he is absolutely ripping it. Go on. Now keep breathing. Go on. Keep it up. There you go, Tony. There you go. Go on. The tiger's going to eat you, Tony. The tiger's going to The tiger's going to chase you, Tony. Come on.
I can't.
Come on, your baby needs a dad, dude. Come on, he can't eat you, bro. Come on, keep running.
No, it says on the screen, you are out of danger. I can't wait to listen to. Can we put the sound on for the next one?
Yeah,
for the next
okay,
one, put the
okay.
sound on.
Yeah, so Tony just pumped out 600 watts.
Is that?
Yeah, that's quite a lot. So when I started, I was around 400. Now after like 6 months, I'm pumping out 1100. So I've improved a lot.
My heart rate is 145. I can't believe that. That's gone up so. That takes me about 10 minutes to get there in the gym. 145.
Dude, and you're breathing like quite heavily. How was it compared to like another type of?
The first
training?
5 or 10 seconds, I was like, oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
And by the end, I mean, I'm really. Whew.
I love this machine, man, because people
This
are
is
just like, what? I mean, I can't believe it. They do it and they're like, wow. Every time they're
Yeah.
like, wow, that is just like nothing I was expecting.
I'm really impressed how quickly it got my heart rate up.
And this is a really interesting point about the heart rate. So
Yeah.
especially Wingate type sprint exercise or this, very short, very intense training.
Yeah.
It actually only elevates your heart rate for a very short time.
Yeah.
So you don't actually suffer inflammation on the heart tissue.
Okay.
So actually some, I hesitate to say, but even some cardiac surgeons are, they're beginning to advocate this type of exercise for people who are even at, beginning to be at risk of this stuff. Obviously consult your
Is
physician.
it enough though? Is it enough if you're only at 20
etc.
seconds? Is that actually enough of a workout?
It is, bro. So I'll tell you why. Because all of the exercise works on depleting glycogen, right? And you need to deplete a lot of glycogen and quickly enough in all type, however you're working out.
Yeah.
For your body then to interpret that as a need to get fitter. Essentially what's happening when you rapidly deplete glycogen, you're then triggering a host of molecular changes that will then ultimately cascade to lead to you improving your cardiovascular fitness, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I did hear one physiologist tell me that glycogen, you can think of it when it's stored in your body, especially in your thighs. So this is the biggest glycogen store,
Yeah.
which we isolate. This is why it's on a bike.
Okay.
It's kind of like a reserve battery, and when you're running away from a tiger in nature, if you had time to work against resistance to get to the top, so i.e. you're running, your heart is going to be fueling that exercise at the beginning, right? And then once you're exhausted, you're going to tap into the anaerobic or your glycogen stores. Yeah, let's turn it back on. Let's turn it back on.
Sound on. We've got about 18 seconds until.
Okay. I'm going to finish the glycogen story after,
Yeah,
but here
yeah.
we go. Okay.
Oh yeah, we can hear the. Keep your hands on the handlebar.
Knows what works. These words. And now you can feel eyes upon you again.
Go on, Tony. Go on. Think speed. You're going to put the most power out when you think about the speed. Go on, Tony. Go on. Okay, you've got 12 more seconds to go. Like I was saying, you can't let that tiger eat you, bro.
Oh, it's getting tougher.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's the machine.
Oh,
working
the
in
resistance.
Boom.
Relax and catch your breath. Pedal slow, and get back to the blue.
Yeah, keep your hands on the handlebars because then you'll see. So what you see is after the sprint, your heart rate's going to shoot up because it wasn't fueling the exercise.
Right.
By taking you from 0 to 100% so quickly,
Yeah.
your heart doesn't have a chance to respond to the sudden demand for energy. So we have to go for the glycogen.
Right.
And so
Okay,
what I
yeah.
was saying is that, the physician, he would say that, glycogen stored in your muscles, when it's burnt rapidly, and a lot of it really quickly. That's the key. Like, you have to burn loads of it really quickly.
Yeah.
Your body interprets that as you know, you've just run away from a tiger to the point where your heart is pooped out, you know, you've run out of breath.
Yeah.
And so your body's had to tap into an alternative fuel source because the tiger's still chasing you, and you have to run away from it, right? And so what happens when your body sees that kind of stress, you know, I'm saying stress in inverted commas, when it gets that stimulus, it's like, okay, my heart's supposedly pooped out and I've had to burn all this glycogen.
Yeah.
It must mean that next time the tiger comes around, I've got to have a stronger heart so that I can run away for longer. Yeah. Because there's only so much glycogen you can store in your legs.
Right.
But you can have a stronger heart almost.
Look at that, my heart
ad
rate
infinitum.
was, when I finished, it was about 100. And now it's up to 143.
Yeah, man.
So it goes up afterwards.
It goes up after, and you can see...
That's nuts. I was like, is it not working? But it is. It's just, my heart is taking a while to catch up.
Dude, mine goes up to like 180 sometimes. But so you can, exactly, so we just used the glycogen, and now your body's like, your heart's like, oh, I need to start working out. And then it pumps up, and then now you're relaxing, so it's going to go straight back down.
This is so crazy. I've done 40 seconds of exercise. And I have to say, I'm pedaling now, and the resistance is nothing, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's like...
Well, it's very low.
It's just cool down. It's very, very easy.
Yeah, you've just done the equivalent of a 45-minute workout. And actually, CAR.O.L's never paid for any research, but some of the research recently come out showing, peer-reviewed research come out showing that, you know, you'd actually be 2 to 3 times fitter doing this 3 times a week than if you were to do half an hour of running every day.
Really?
Yeah. And at least in my layman's
no shower, no change, no sweat. It's great. I'm just picturing you with the kettle on in your flat.
That's it, man.
Tell you what, it's just cooled down enough to have my coffee after.
Yeah, don't picture anything fancy.
Wow, so there's 15 seconds left and then that's it for my workout.
So how do you feel?
I mean, I do feel like I've had a workout. I have that endorphin boost. Mm-hmm. You know, it feels nice. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to getting off and feeling how my legs feel.
That would be cool
as well.
Yeah. Oh, and this thing at the top here is a breath pacer. I forgot to say. That was something that was guiding your breathing. Yeah. And so it's a 4-second inhale, a 1-second hold, and then a 6-second exhale. And actually breathing in line with that can be, you've got to concentrate. Yeah. And if you do that, you'll see your heart rate come straight back down.
Really?
Straight back
down.
Yeah, so it really helps to recover you.
Oh, shall I take the mic?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I'm just like climbing off. Yeah, I can feel it in my legs. I mean, that's what I get. I'm not making it up. That's what I get when I get off the exercise bike for half an hour in the gym.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I think no sweat. I would say there's a very light perspiration going on.
Yeah, dude. That's also true. This has been notorious of what you call our facility in here.
Yeah,
so
it's quite warm in here.
It's warm in here.
I was sweating before we started recording. So yeah.
And you're wearing a sweater.
Yeah.
But you know, that's definitely true. Like some people will, I guess, lightly mist, but 99.9% of people don't sweat. Certainly nowhere near enough to need to reapply makeup or anything like that. Yeah.
I mean, it's nice because I always find my core just feels so much better when I work on a bike.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to feeling pretty good today. What were you telling me about why you guys got into this in terms of diabetes? Because I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy actually. So you know what? When we first started on this journey, it wasn't actually an idea to get people fit and healthy. It actually turned out to be a really convenient byproduct of this, or like something that kind of blew the lid off this thing. We're like, whoa, there's a bigger market application for what we're doing. So this is a family business. And the other guys in the family were working, they're all ex-McKinsey guys, management consultants. They were working in the healthcare practice, working with a client, let's say, who was trying to get the rate of diabetes down in a local population to then try and then obviously go expand that nationwide. And they tried everything, wouldn't work, drugs, anything they could think of. It just wasn't really catching wind. And then they were watching TV, a guy called Dr. Michael Mosley, who was type 2 diabetic, and he was on TV saying, with Dr. Niels Vollard at the time, we're talking about this cool new bike, right? But he was using the lab bespoke equipment, right, with the other technicians, etc. But he was like, guys, check this out. I'm type 2 diabetic. My insulin sensitivity has increased by so much that only doing this workout 3 times a week, I no longer have to take my pills after 5 weeks, right? And we were like, oh my gosh, this is insane, right? So we were thinking, well, if this is such an intervention, they're thinking, okay, why do we apply it to this project they're working on? And then very quickly, so the next day they went out and bought regular spinning bikes. They tried to do it. Then they tried to do this exercise without needing the bespoke equipment.
Yeah.
And that took many years of R&D to finally figure out that they really do need it. And they pretty much immediately called Dr. Niels Vollard to start to work together on this stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, many years of R&D later, and a lot of startup capital later, we're at this. We have this product now that's actually got so many more benefits. I mean, it's not just cardiovascular fitness and
that
insulin
diabetes,
sensitivities.
would that still work?
100%.
Do they have type 2 or type 1?
Type 2.
Type 2. Is
Type,
that the
type
one?
1 it can't. Type 1 it can't solve.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, all those are type 1. At least as far as I understand the disease, everyone with type 1 is. You have to
manage it throughout your life.
Yeah,
Because I've got a mate with type 1 and he's very, very sporty.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, oh my God,
But
he'd love this. And he would. But it wouldn't. It just
no, it
wouldn't,
doesn't. So type 1, I think you just kind of got an unlucky hand. Whereas type 2, at least, is lifestyle induced.
I mean, it's just amazing. I really, I enjoyed that a lot.
I'm glad.
Yeah. I think it's very inventive, the whole, tying it in with a kind of real biohacker's perspective of you're in the savannah, you're about to get attacked, your species has survived. That's great. I like that a lot. Yeah. So look, how long have we recorded? Almost 30 minutes. Something I've asked everybody on this podcast is, what is one book that you would recommend and one tip for living with more energy and vitality? I know you're quite into this whole world, not just the CAR.O.L bike, but all sorts of kind of ways of optimizing your health and well-being. I believe you just had a very peaceful week in Portugal as well. What is one book that you'd recommend and one tip for living with more energy?
So I'll start with the tip for living with more energy while my other half of the brain thinks about the book, because I've got about 100 books on my list right now. I'll tell you the book. Brendan Burchard's, I think I'm saying his name right.
Burchard.
Brendan Burchard's,
yeah.
High Performance Habits.
Yeah, is it good, that?
Oh my gosh, that's insane. So I read the thing and I'm like, dude, that's me, but I
Yeah.
need to improve there. I totally get behind it.
Yeah.
What I love about that book compared to a lot of other stuff I read, and I love the other stuff because I get so many lessons from it, but I find that Brendan's book is prescriptive in just the right way. It's sort of like, this is the meta stuff you need to have.
Yeah.
And it's also not like kind of leaving you in the lurch to say, right, this is the advice, but how you're going to apply it to your own life is totally up to you.
Yeah.
Because I find when I'm trying to apply it to my life, I get lost in the weeds and I'm like, oh wait, but in this context, does it still apply? Or should I think of it this way or somehow else? It's like, oh, okay, like, am I working on a project? For example, if I'm doing like, I don't know, admin and I hate it, it's like, do I persevere or do I delegate it? What do I do? Whereas in Brendan's case, it's very easy to know how to apply all of the stuff he says, and it's universal truths what he's talking about. So it's like there's no two ways about it.
Right.
It's very, very easy to apply, and I like it a lot.
I saw him. I mean, he'd love this, wouldn't he?
Probably. I don't know the guy personally. I'd love to meet him. But
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know you've been on Bulletproof Radio, haven't you?
We have,
and Dave Asprey knows him quite well, I think. So
yeah, dude, Dave himself has a couple of these machines.
Does he?
Yeah, his wife gets a real kick out of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
And then the tip. The tip. Okay, I don't want to sound cliched. So actually,
but getting on a CAR.O.L.
exercising, bro.
Yeah.
So at least from my background, so I used to work for Budweiser, and I did no exercise whatsoever. And I slept really well. I ate quite well. I did drink a lot of beer, but I'm the kind of guy who they made us wear these Fitbits in the office, like some corporate, wellness thing, right? And I wore these Fitbits, but I drove the car so much. It's kind of like always driving up and down the country to meetings. I put the thing on my gear stick to make it think that I was doing more steps than I actually was. I was that kind of guy. After I just put, I just put the thing in my pocket, whatever, and just leave it, right? But after doing this, I'm telling you, I have more energy at the bar. I have more energy around my friends, like at work, honestly, just being fitter and healthier. And this, at least for me, who found it so hard to get, as you just said, you're like, oh, I feel like I just did a 30-minute workout. You got the endorphin rush. For me, before working out, I found it very difficult to push myself to the point where I'd feel like that. So I usually would walk out of the gym just feeling kind of just rubbish and not really sufficiently exercised and just tired. And so it's very easy for me to not go. This kind of taught me what the feelings I was pushing for, and it got me definitely more engaged. So I'm not saying ride the CAR.O.L bike is my key to energy. I'm saying an exercise that you can stick to and that you can actually do to a level where it's actually going to benefit you every time. For me, that is the CAR.O.L bike. For other people, that would maybe whatever. But just being healthy, dude, like,
Yeah.
and just being active.
Yeah.
That is, and especially today, I find that really hard to do.
I forgot to ask you, why is it called CAR.O.L?
So we've got a couple of nerds in the office.
Yeah.
So it stands for the cardiovascular optimization logic.
Right, so
And-
CAR,
Yeah, CAR.O.L.
L.
Exactly.
Cardiovascular
And
optimal logic.
that's it.
Yeah.
In iRobot, there was an AI software called Vicky, and she was like, 'cause the Vicky was an acronym, right? It stood for something.
Yeah.
She ends up, she controls all the robots, right? So it's a bit like Carol controlling the bike for
Yes.
you, does everything for you. Obviously, Vicky went crazy and killed everyone, so Carol doesn't. There are no guns on Carol, so she can't do that. But she might make you pedal until your legs fall off.
That's cool. So, I mean, look, the bad news is it's not particularly cheap, but it is, I must say, I've really enjoyed it. And I know you've got a little discount for Zestology listeners. So where can people find out more about the bike? And if they want to get involved, what do they do?
So, if you want to get involved, go to carolfitai.com, CAROLFITAI.com. You'll find out all of our information online, all of our contact details, of course, and where you can try it. We've got loads of locations across the United States, the UK, and a couple even in Europe, and in Australia, believe it or not, where you can try the bike, right? You can obviously buy online. We ship anywhere in the United States within 5 to 10 days. At the moment, there are got a ton of orders, so maybe closer to 10 days. You go apply the coupon code Zestology for $150 off. You're at the point of purchase. Obviously, this will also apply to our financed units, so we do offer 0% financing as well, so you can pay as little as $100 a month.
That's cool that people can try it out. I think that's quite nice.
Because
Some people might just get it, and some people want to try it and see how they feel.
and how do you feel now?
Well,
Now
I
that
feel
you've been
good.
talking for
I do
10
feel
minutes.
like I've been to the gym.
Yeah.
Like I do actually have that endorphin. I always get it when I work out.
Yeah.
And you said I might not feel it after this, but I
You
do
might
feel
not,
it.
yeah.
No, I
Because
do.
you pushed quite hard. Like you could
Yeah.
see. So there was a graph that popped up, you'll notice, which
Yeah.
was showing your performance. So Carol's going to analyze that, right? Along with other biometrics it has about you.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be, we've got tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of data points
Yeah.
on people like you. And so the Carol, every ride you do is contributing to that little ecosystem. But what it's doing is it's going to then obviously understand that. But you pumped out, what I could see here, you pumped out a lot of power. Like
Did I?
you did 650 watts.
Good.
Man. Like that's actually really good. Like I
These
said,
these little legs may look unassuming.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, those are the ones that get you around the 400 meters quickly, and they
Yeah.
definitely are the ones that got you around that flywheel quickly. So
Yeah.
man, 650 watts.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, listen, thanks. It's been really good fun. It's nice to do an experiential podcast, isn't
Yeah.
it? And play with it. And good luck with it. Keep me posted how you go. And we'll
100%.
record another one next year.
100%.
Brilliant. All right. Thanks so much. There you go. Thank you very much to Rahul from CAR.O.L Artificial Intelligence Bikes. Did enjoy that podcast. I'm still walking around West London. It's a little bit planes, trains and automobiles around here. I'm just walking under the M4 and alongside the tube line. But I hope you can hear me all right. I think it'd be very interesting to do that workout every day for 30 days and see how you feel. I definitely felt a little bit Bambi-legged when I walked off the bike. You know that feeling when you've been on the exercise bike or you've been on your actual bike for about half an hour. And then you get off and you just kind of, it's a nice feeling, isn't it? It's kind of a feeling of being slightly bandy-legged, wobbly-legged, wobbling around a bit and thinking, oh, this feels nice. I feel like I've done a proper workout. Anyway, thanks very much to Rahul, and thank you for listening to Zestology. A quick reminder, this podcast is brought to you by Sunlighten Infrared Saunas, who have just launched in the UK. They have a link with the American Heart Association. No other brand has done clinical studies on heart health like Sunlighten. And not only that, really helps you to sleep, as I've been finding out. A little bit more on that in podcasts coming up fairly shortly. I'm very interested in how it can improve my sleep, how it can improve my relaxation and my parasympathetic nervous system, and also how it can help with pain relief and anti-aging. If I can live to the age of 300, that would probably be a terrifying prospect for everybody else, but it seems like quite a good idea. Maybe I need to think that one through a little bit more. Anyway, this podcast is brought to you by Sunlighten Saunas, and really looking forward to recording that podcast in the sauna soon. And I mean, that could be another one where I just end up sounding slightly foolish, but we'll see how it goes. You can head to Sunlighten, go and check those guys out. They're now selling in the UK as well as the US, and if you use the code Zestology in either country, you will get £200 or $200 off. So thanks to the guys at Sunlighten. Thank you to Rahul. What a great bloke and a great guest as well. And I really hope that his company does well, because he and his company have put a lot of work into developing this hardware and software that I think is really quite exciting. So we'll see how that goes. We'll keep tabs on them, and we'll definitely get Rahul on again soon, and make sure you check out CAR.O.L and maybe go and support them. I know it's not particularly cheap, but it's one of those ones, as Ben Greenfield always says, this stuff isn't cheap, but if you do get ill, you'll be paying a lot more down the line. So that's the way to look at it, if you've got the money to spare. Just before I go, one more thing I wanted to tell you about, and that is that I've launched a new website. I'd love you to check it out. It is histamineintolerance.net. And that is because I just discovered earlier this year that I am a sufferer of histamine intolerance. And as you know, because I have mentioned it on the podcast a few times, it's been an incredible revelation for me. Like 25 years of a bad gut and not feeling great and never knowing why, and 3 days on a low histamine diet, and I just felt completely different to how I felt before, and I haven't had a bad gut like I used to get since. Amazing. And I'm kind of so passionate about this stuff, I thought it'd be good just to put all the knowledge that I've acquired, but all the kind of best links of all the experts that I've been studying in one place, because there is a bit of a dearth of information about histamine intolerance. So I decided to make it separate to the normal site, but if you want to head to histamineintolerance.net, then all the info is there. You can sign up to a kind of HistaHacks podcast, and if you're listening to this and thinking, well, how do I know if I've got histamine intolerance? There's a quiz on there and you'll know in about 30 seconds. So how's that? Right, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.